A crime expert in Cape Town says the spike in fatal shootings in the province is a sign of a deepening crisis. 14 people were shot dead in Kraaifotein in 1 week alone in what authorities believe are gang-related incidents. 3 were set alight in the same area, and vigilantism is believed to be the motive. Dr. Llewellyn MacMaster of the Cape Crime Crisis Coalition says it's more concerning that younger perpetrators are being drawn into the gangs and criminality. He spoke to SABC News reporter Thandiswa Mawu.
As the Cape Crime Crisis Coalition, this is really an ongoing thing on the Cape Flats. Yes, the mass killings are highlighted, but reports on a weekly basis show that this, unfortunately, has become the lived reality of people on the Cape Flats. And it is a crisis. It is a deepening crisis. It seems as if there's no end to this, and that people are just becoming more open and more bold in their actions. That's why they can go into a court and shoot people there. They go up to in front of police stations and shoot people. It says something about, how they view, shall I say, authority. They've lost respect for authority, and they have only their agendas, and that is to kill, people, whether it's witnesses, whether it's rival gangs, we don't know. But it's a combination of all these things.
It points to, also you mentioned moral decay.
Yes, we're sitting with a moral crisis. And it's part of what we sort of preaching, in a sense, through the interfaith initiative that we've started with the Muslim Judicial Council, with the Council of Churches, and with other religious groups, to say that we must take this responsibility as communities, and especially as faith leaders, to turn this tide of moral degeneration around. Because if people don't have respect for life, if people don't have respect for other people's property, if people value property or goods more than they value lives, we have a deep crisis. If people can easily, become part of corruption and violence, then we have a moral crisis. And that is why we are tackling this on different fronts. With conversations with the police, we had meetings with the acting police minister last week. Even, through another organization that I work in, Cape Crisis Committee, we work with the taxis also, because that's part of our culture of violence, unfortunately. So it is indeed a moral crisis. It is indeed a moral crisis that asks of each one of us, all South African citizens, to take a stance and to do their bit.
That sounds like very long term. What can be done immediately?
Indeed long term, but there are things that can be done immediately. We have, in our conversations with the minister, agreed that we, as the Cape Crime Coalition, will draw up a document where we will put proposals for him to consider. But one of the things is focus on the hotspots, and make sure that that there's resources there. Make sure that the station commanders understand the extent of the problem, and how the station commanders can work with the immediate communities that they're serving in that order. In order to build trust and bring communities in, because communities also have solutions that they can share, but they are sometimes just sidelined, and then we hear here's a plan, but the community has not been drawn in sufficiently to say that we take ownership together with the police in what's going to happen.